So I wanted to talk about Red Dead Redemption, which is a 13-year-old game. It came out in 2010. I know this isn't really the point of my YouTube channel to go through video games, but I am an avid video game player, going back to PC days in the 1980s and some even prior to that. I have always wanted to play Red Dead Redemption because I was a huge Grand Theft Auto fan. Right until I stopped playing PCs, which was probably Grand Theft Auto 3, I think, 3 or 4. I just couldn't keep up with the advancements in the games, and at the time I didn't feel like spending the money. I think this is a fantastic game. Now, the most important thing, well, not the most important thing, but an important thing for me is the fact that the entire game is on the cartridge. And oftentimes with a lot of these games, they are not. Particularly, I'm thinking of the Resident Evil games and some of the other collections where they might put one game on there and then the rest are digital downloads. The whole thing is on here. The only thing I will say is that there was a day one update, which is a little disappointing given it's a 13-year-old game. But I don't even think it took a minute to download it. So it's clearly just a small patch. And so that's nice. I'm glad that they were able to fit it all on there. Firing it up, yeah, it's both an incredible looking game and a game that does look its age somewhat. I would say that probably in 2010 it was probably absolutely cutting edge. It is not cutting edge now, but it is a fully realized 1880s or 1800s Western game with a massive landscape, gorgeous backgrounds. I live in Colorado. I've driven through New Mexico. I've never been, well, I've been to Mexico, but not in those kind of areas. But I know these kind of landscapes, and it looks incredible, particularly with, say, the sun setting or the sun rising. You get all sorts of day effects. Time moves obviously faster than it would in real life, but you do get a sizable day. It's a buggy game, which that was what really surprised me, was the number of bugs. In particular, I had issues with the game freezing up when I was accepting bounties. I had times where I was moving from this one was not that common. The freezing when accepting bounties was very common. But I would move from one section to another, and when it was loading up, it would never stop. And so I'd have to hard reboot the game. Disappointing, but it is not to the level of some other games. Skyrim, there were bugs in there that would absolutely ruin entire side quests. And also, my favorite game on the Switch, SnowRunner, was much worse when it came to bugs. They were almost crippling. Even though I absolutely love the game, it is incredibly buggy. So after 13 years, it still has bugs. And you'd have the little things like cowboys on horses buried neck deep in the dirt, which was obviously a graphical mistake. The voice acting is amazing. And in particular, Rob Wythoff as John Marston, I thought he was amazing. And this character here is John Marston. He is the playable character. The story is a little strange because it is about redemption. John Marston was a member of a gang, and he did kill people, although he seemed to think that he was kind of a Robin Hood type villain or robber. But he did kill a lot of people, and now got out, although his gang apparently left him for dead. And the feds, or whatever you might call them, were forcing him by kidnapping his family, his wife and son, into tracking down and killing the ex-members of or the old members of his gang, which are still out there. and doing shenanigans. And the weird thing is that the two people that he spends almost the entire game trying to kill don't really come off as particularly credible villains. And so it's a little weird. They also seem to be able to accumulate massive amounts of gang members. And then later on, it switches gears. This is kind of late in the game, and it's actually someone else you need to track down. He is a more interesting villain. But it's a little weird that it switches who you're trying. This guy is the actual leader of the gang, although has separated from the other two. But it is a great story. And I would say the only other game on the Switch that I played that I thought had a better story was L.A. Noire, which ironically is also a Rockstar game. So Rockstar does a great job of creating stories. They do a great job of creating these fully realized worlds, and then giving it a story, a great story, and great character to go with the story. The original game got a 95% on Metacritic, which is one of the highest scores ever. This one gets an 83, not a surprise given the fact that it's a 13-year-old game. So it would be surprising if it still held a 95. The user rating on there is a dismal 4.8. I didn't go through that. There were a lot. I can't remember them. I think there were literally thousands of them. So people didn't like the game, and I could imagine. I didn't look at the Metacritic score before before I bought it, particularly the user rating. I did look at the critical rating, but that might have scared me off. That's a really low score, but I can tell you, I don't understand why people are giving it a 4.8. That's a terrible score, and this is not a terrible game. It is buggy, but I've accepted that bugginess generally goes along with these kind of games, these sprawling, huge, tons of side quest games. I think the bigger, the more robust, the more real world physics, the more issues you tend to have, and I just accept that. So I highly recommend the game. These are the kind of games that make me wish I wasn't exclusive to Nintendo, so I could have played it years ago. And there is a there is a Red Dead Redemption 2 that came out in like 2017 or something like that. So I'd love to play that, but I just don't feel like splitting up and having two systems. So Red Dead Redemption, I highly recommend it. I think it was fun, and you get the whole game on the cartridge. So if you don't like it, then you could just sell it and probably make your money back, or at least close to it.